friends. A while ago, I was asked to make a video how I consign my stuff with stores, so this is what this video is going to be about. So what is consignment? Consignment is not that kind of consignment that you might think, which is like secondhand thrift store consignment. I'm talking about consigning my products with small local businesses, basically getting them on board to collaborate with me and sell my products at their store. That term consignment is something pretty new to me. I didn't know that was the term until I started working with my very first shop, and that is an income stream that I've been trying to grow recently for the past few months or so, and it's been doing pretty well. I so far am consigning my goods with 3 stores, 2 here in New Jersey and 1 in San Diego. Locally, I am consigning so far with 2 businesses, one which is like an olive oil and food/gift shop, and then one which is a coffee shop. And I'm going to potentially be consigning at another shop in the same town, which is at a bookstore. So that's really exciting. I just have to meet with the owner and talk about the details of the products and everything else like that. So we'll see how that goes. But basically, how consignment works can vary from store to store. So you really have to get the details from the manager or the owner, whoever is in charge of allowing consignment at their store. But generally, it's similar to wholesale in that you usually accept a rate of 50-50. For the one that I'm doing in San Diego, I get 60% of the profits and 40% of the sale goes to them, whereas the ones that I'm working with here locally, there's one shop, Patricia and Paul, where I get 50-50, and the coffee shop that I'm working with is a huge anomaly, but I actually take 100% of the profits. So she's just a really nice person. I think I mentioned this in a previous video before, but she's just overall a really kind person who wants to help support small businesses. So I get to basically take all of the money from the sales that I get to make at the coffee shop. But generally, a rule of thumb is that you will take 50-50 of the profits. So for example, if you are selling something or you're giving something to the shop to sell for you for $4 and it sells, you will take home $2. And how consignment also works is that unlike wholesale, where the company or small business buys the products from you outright and you get the money like right away, consignment usually is that you are either renting a space for free or you have to pay for that space to show your goods at their storefront. And once something is sold, then you will get the profits split in half. So essentially, you're just taking up space at the storefront, and the owner or the manager doesn't purchase it from you until they make that sale. So they generally will log it into their system to make sure they can keep track of the expenses if it does sell. So for me, generally with the stores that I consign with, like Patricia and Paul and Halo Roasters, I have greeting cards for Patricia and Paul only, and then I have greeting cards and stickers, and recently I gave her some of my notepads to sell at the coffee shop. And once a month I'll come in and I will be given my profits either in the form of a check or cash. So yeah, it's a nice income stream to supplement my online sales and my market sales, my market profits. And it's something that I feel like I don't have to stay on top of, I guess. It's once a month or whenever I tend to run low on stock. And how I got started with consignment was basically when my boyfriend, my friends, and I actually went to Patricia and Paul just to kind of look around, and I noticed that the store carried tote bags and greeting cards. So in my mind, I was like, oh, I wonder if they get this from like other small businesses or local artists that they might work with, because some of them kind of seemed like that. they seemed homemade or made by like local artisans. So I had asked the manager if they work with small businesses and other artists to make these items and sell them at the store, and she did say yes, that they actually worked with a bunch of other artists. So that was basically how I was able to get my foot in the door. If you remember from many videos ago that I made, I was actually really nervous and I wasn't prepared to give like a whole spiel about how I'm an artist and I make greeting cards, and that I would love to work with the store to, like, you know, sell my goods there as well. So I basically was not prepared, and I was just like, yeah, nice. And then it took like 3 or 4 days for me to kind of muster up the courage and prep myself to return at the store and give a proper introduction on who I was and the fact that I was an artist, because I didn't tell her any of that at all during the first time that I was there, and I just inquired and I was just like, yeah, nice. One tip there is don't do that, don't be like me. Kind of practice in your head what you're going to say. But yeah, that's my first attempt at where I consign now at Patricia and Paul, but thankfully she was really nice. So that Wednesday when I returned, I made sure that I mentally prepped myself as to what I was going to say, talk about my introduction and about my small business and what I do, but I also showed up with an envelope of samples. So I think I had 1 greeting card and 1 bookmark, and also I made kind of like a PDF flyer or like a 2-page like brochure, I guess. I made it in Canva just to talk about my brand, a little bit about myself and the products that I carry. So I made kind of like a mini catalog to show like the different things that I make. So she was really impressed with it, and she was asking like if I could make, you know, this and that. Not every store will ask, you know, if you can make this and that, and they might just take your products at face value. So I also made sure that I mentioned like I'm open to collaborating with you. Like if there's something that you want made that you think would be good for the store, we can look into designing that and creating that as an actual product. No, actually I think I didn't make a catalog then, but we exchanged information. So I gave her my business card as well. I made sure to put that in the sample. That goes with her, and she gave me her email address, which then I sent her a PDF version of my catalog, which I made in Canva, and I'll put it somewhere on the screen to show you what that kind of looks like there. But it doesn't have to be anything really crazy. It just has to be clear as far as what you're selling and how much you would sell it for. I displayed the prices that I would have her sell it at the store for. So just keep in mind for wholesale and for consignment, general rule of thumb is just to anticipate that you will take only half of the profits. So if there's something that you make that is extremely tedious and time consuming and would probably cost a lot, it might not make sense to wholesale it or to consign it. So just make sure that you do the math beforehand to make sure that you're still making profit even if you take half the pay. So yeah, after I sent her the email with the PDF of my catalog, we kind of went back and forth as to how many products that she will take at the beginning. So she suggested getting 3 of each of my cards. So I basically showed up the next week or so with all of my greeting cards, 3 of each, and she just puts all of that into her system. So as just like a general greeting card. And I think that day when I dropped off my first greeting cards to the store, she already managed to sell 2 or 3 greeting cards that very day. So that was such a huge boost in ego, which is another thing why I like consigning, because sometimes I will hear things from her where she'll tell me that people saw the cards and they wanted to buy it immediately or something like that. It's just it's just really nice and immediately validates you and the work that you do. So yeah, besides being an extra income stream, that's really nice, and I love that. And so basically, having this knowledge of how to consign, I carried that information and knowledge with me to the next place, which is Halo Roasters coffee shop. And I approached the manager and kind of basically did the same thing, where I said, do you work with local artists? I also noticed that they carry some stationery goods, but also bath and body and like candles over there, and it looked like it was made by small businesses as well. So I made sure to kind of talk to her about that. Like, did other local businesses nearby make this? You work with other artists and small businesses? Because I am a small business, I'm an illustrator, I make a lot of stickers and stationery goods, blah, blah, blah. And I would love to partner with you or collaborate with you and bring my stuff here, blah, blah, blah. So, and she agreed. She was very nice, and yeah. So each store will have their own kind of agreement, so just make sure you get all of those details. But that's how I've been doing it whenever I go to a new place. I also prepared a video for you guys. The last time I went to Patricia and Paul, I asked the manager if she would be okay kind of doing like a little interview with me, just so you guys can see kind of what the shop looks like and what she has to say about this whole consignment thing. So let's play the video now. So I'm here at Patricia and Paul, which is the first store that I started consigning my greeting cards in, and I'm here with Erin, the
Hello.
Lovely manager. So do you want to talk a little bit about Patricia and Paul, what kind of store this is, and about the other artists that are consigning
Sure,
here?
absolutely. So we are basically a sampling bar for extra virgin olive oils and balsamics. We have whole walls of olive oils, balsamics, and we have all sorts of fun things down the middle as well. And like May said, we do have other artists as well. We have some other potters, that is everything's on consignment. We've had woodworkers as well, that does consignment as well. So basically consignment is just they give me the product, we sell what we sell, and then we pay them what we sell.
Okay. And how, specifically for Patricia and Paul, what is like the cut, I guess, because different stores do it differently. So.
Yeah, so for us, we do 50-50. So if an item costs $10, they get $5, we get $5.
And so how does it work with seasons? Like, do artists bring in different merchandise and products at different times? How does that work? Do you keep everything, or do they take things back?
So it's up to the artist. So like our one potter, right now we're storing everything for them because they have limited space. So I still have stuff from their fall line, from Christmas, Hanukkah, all that kind of stuff. But some people take it back because they sell in other places. So it's really up to the artist.
Up to them. Okay, perfect. Do you have any, like, I guess, if there were any other artists that wanted to get started on this, do you have any tips for how they could approach like you or any other manager at any other small business?
I think it's always good to have pictures or samples available when you go to talk to someone. Like when May came, she brought me a little sample packet, which was adorable. This way just to show what they do. You know, if they have an online presence, show that as well. So this way you can also do collaborations on social media, which benefits both of the parties.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed, Erin. I appreciate the time.
Of course.
And yeah, hopefully you guys can take something away from what Erin said. Okay, so I think that's pretty much all I have to say about consignment. It's not as intimidating as it looks. I think it's really fun, and I'm really glad that I did pull the trigger and went back to the store after my slip up and not introduced myself properly. I just felt like I could not just leave it at that. So I definitely recommend it to you guys if sales are slow online or you just want to build another income stream. I think that would be a really great place to start. If you're not wholesaling and you'd like to work with other small businesses, maybe they can't afford to wholesale, which basically is buying a bulk of your items right then and there. Consignment is another great place to start, where it's kind of like low risk for them and for you. And honestly, I wouldn't have made all these greeting card sales if I didn't consign them with these local businesses nearby. Nobody really buys my greeting cards online, so this is a great place to show, you know, who I am and have some exposure in my local community. So I think it's great. Just to summarize though, how to do it, definitely brainstorm, walk around, go to the places that you'd like to consign in person, get a feel for what their vibe is, because different stores, depending on what it is, if it's like a home goods store or if it's a coffee shop or like a food gift shop like Patricia and Paul is, you're gonna want to think of the products that you could potentially show them or give to them as samples, something that will really pull them in and make them interested to work with you. So do your homework, brainstorm them a little bit, be mentally prepared as well as to what you're gonna say and how you're gonna introduce yourself and the things that you make. And anything, like if you are okay with giving or working with them to create personalized products just for their store, make sure that you say that. Bring your business card, give them a business card besides the samples as well that they can keep, and that has your phone number, your email address, stuff like that, so that it's easy for them to remember. Usually I recommend reaching out in person, because I feel like nowadays if you just kind of DM them on social media, it can be easy for them to forget. So I had to do that actually with another coffee shop that I have been keeping my eyes on in the same town. I go there and I've been going there for a while, and I've been only seeing like regular baristas and stuff and not like the managers. But last time I went, I finally got to speak to a manager and I found out that they actually do wholesale. So I emailed her, so I'm making sure that I kind of, you know, follow up while things are a little fresh and warm, and hopefully they will be receptive and responsive and will like my designs. But anyway, so do your research, prepare your samples before you go, and make sure that you follow up, you know, give a couple days to make sure that they read your stuff, they took a look at your stuff, see what they think about it. If you can follow up in person, that would be great. I start local, like everything that the places that I'm consigning at are like within 15 minutes drive, 20 minutes drive, depending on the traffic. So yeah, just start from there, I guess, start locally, but also don't be afraid to reach out to other stores that are further out if you feel like you have a good chance. I'm actually eyeing some stores in Red Bank, New Jersey. That's like 45 minutes, maybe an hour away from me, I think. But we'll see. I have just bookmarked their sites and stuff. I haven't reached out to them yet. I'm thinking whether I'd like to actually drive down and introduce myself, or start off with a DM on Instagram or something like that. But yeah, hopefully you found this information helpful. Let me know if you have already started in consigning your stuff at stores, and if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.